Hello Tubesters, and welcome to another one of Gav's videos. Welcome to a sunny morning in the middle of the UK. Yes, we're in the UK, it's getting into winter and it's still sunny. Although I must admit I'm actually a winter person more than a sun person. I know, masochist. Anyway, today's not so short video will be on a recent package I've got from Front Rank. I ordered some Spanish guerrillas of the Napoleonic Wars. Yes, more Front Rank, and yes, more Napoleonics. Again, these are for resale, which is why you see a lot of them, although I have got some other manufacturers in the pipeline and different historical genres, mainly because I just wanted to paint something different for a change, to just to sell on. So look out for maybe some ancients and possibly some Middle Ages, knights, things like that. So I did my usual. I was actually going to get a packet of these. All I wanted was a packet of these finials to go on top of the Württemberg's colours and the Nassaus. And I thought, well, while I'm here, I've got nothing left to paint, more or less, to, as I say, to sell on. So I'll put a small order in, and probably some voltigeurs or something like that to go with the 95th rifles, because I've obviously got a dozen of those. And I think they're good. I've based them singly, hoping that people can put them on either movement trays and use them for, or just use them, for skirmishing in those type of rule sets. So, I was looking down on voltigeurs. Even some of the other countries came up in my ideas, and then I finally settled on these guerrillas, Spanish guerrillas. I don't know if you can see them properly yet. You'll get a closer look in a minute. Reason I went for these were that I could do some different colours on them. They weren't all the same. Yes, they'll take a bit longer, but also the facial details are all there. The one problem when you've got units with shakos and obviously peaks and that, you can't obviously get a lot of detail into the faces, with obviously the chin scales, and if they've got the big bushy moustaches and things. So I thought to myself, I'll get a dozen of those. Well, the dozen ended up at 33. Again, you'll notice 33, odd number. I've done it again. I never order an even number so that you can have an even number, to sell. And what the heck was I doing ordering 33 when I only needed 12? So I'm not going to be painting them all at one go. I'll paint the first 12, sell those on, hopefully, and throughout the year I'll add on another dozen guerrillas at a time. But obviously when I get to the last unit, I'll have to buy another single figure. Oh dear. So yeah, that was another, go from £3 odd, £4 odd plus postage for some little metal finials, and I ended up spending 50 quid, I think, with the postage. So let's call that a long-term investment. So if you'd like to join me down at the bench, we're going to have a look at these figures. Now I'm going to try a different system. I've got a bit of a pole which I'm going to lash my camera to, hold it down with a weight and have it viewing directly over the bench. I want to try it that way because I want to see if it handles right. Could I do a tutorial that way? Because obviously I tried the Italian tutorials, they were useless. Not only were they loading up all wrong anyway, but I take my hat off to all the guys that can paint behind a camera, as in, look over the top of a camera to paint. You're constantly having to retouch up things, and it doesn't give the flavour of how I do my painting, which funny enough is constantly touching up bits of overspill, but that's something different. So join me at the bench, guys. We'll have a look at these, see what you think. They're the usual, chunky Front Rank figures. You're not really seeing anything different apart from the poses and the country than you'd see in my other ones. But as I've always said, if I've got something to show through, something come through the post that's worth showing, I'll give you a look. So join me at the bench and we'll have a squiz at these. See you in a minute. Right, guys, welcome to the bench. This is, as I say, a bit of a tryout for me, really. I haven't got one of these cameras that you can turn the image display around so you can see what the camera's seeing, if that makes sense, from the opposite way. That doesn't make even less sense, does it? But it's, what I mean is you just flip the side out and you look straight at what the camera can see. That's all I've got. So at the moment I've got this lashed on a pole that I use for the light box, the very infrequent use of the light box. And I've got a big office sellotape holder holding the pole down. So this could go pear-shaped at any minute. So let's have a look at our Spanish Grenadiers. As you can see here, lovely facial detail again, classic front rank face. There's lots of creases. You can get your, whether you just want to put a wash in there to show the creases up, or whether you want to, like I do, just paint them in. There's lots to play with here. You've got the neckerchief. I'm sorry if I'm sometimes pointing out of focus at the moment, because it's just learning this way of setting the camera up. A lot of them, I've noticed, have got these Spanish type, almost like moccasins. But again, you can do lots of, you could either, like this guy that would be flesh. I've got to look into some more of the civilian jackets for Spain. I have got some books on the Spanish units, and what I'd hoped to do was put maybe the odd uniform coating as well from the Spanish, like been left over from the Spanish army. Again, he's got it over his shoulder. I take it this here isn't a hairnet, and it's got some form of plaiting. I have absolutely no idea on Spanish guerrillas at the moment. As I say, this is just an idea I had of just painting up a dozen or so on single basis, so that people can use them as skirmish figures. One thing I always say with these front rank is, if you can get your files, sometimes it's pretty hard, but get your files in here, because if you've got the big lump of solid cast there, and it tends to be quite rough. A lot of the times you won't see it, obviously when the figure's down standing up properly, but if you can get some type of file in there, you do yourself some service. So that's now he's not an officer, he's just a guy with a pistol. I like this guy here with a blunderbuss. Again, you can go to town on the different you've got sashes. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be a canteen or a powder barrel. I'm thinking maybe a powder barrel, to be honest with you. Again, he's got this classic plaited hair and his pistol. He looks like he's got gaiters on and some form of cartridge box. This fella here that's looks like he's almost got a flat cap on. Some nice big mutton chop sideburns, and a blanket over his shoulder. Again, lovely. There's so much you can do with these. Now, if you were painting these like I am for let's face it, financial gain, the only problem maybe with painting these, if you're not going to, you can get away. What I'm trying to say is speed. If any of you want to paint figures out there to sell, you need to. I'm not a fast painter, but you do need to get units out. But there's obviously different scales of units. They can be quick and dirty units, or they can be medium, what I call medium highlight type of units, where you've done a certain amount of work and then you do a more high-end painting. But something like this, if you want to go to town like I'm going to, and do different, hopefully different colours and that, as I say, I have to try and have a look at, see some period details and see what roughly. I mean, everybody seems to paint them in browns all the time, and that might be just how they were, I don't know. But yeah, if you've got something that's going to take a lot of work, it's obviously going to take longer for it to be completed. Again, this cape, I thought, well, yeah, it could just be a civilian cape, but it could also be, for me, that could be maybe a dragoon's cape, well, maybe a French cavalry cape of some description. Then obviously have the reverse colours in, so might be something to look at, because again, these guys will be picking up whatever they robbed off the dead or Well, they didn't. I don't think they took that many prisoners, but if they did, they'd have obviously robbed them as well. Got these classic Spanish long knives, daggers. Again, you'll get the odd bit of chunky, huge bit of chunky cast there, but again, just use one of these. You know, I always have one of these big engineering flat files. You can get them from any cheap, you know, just cheap ones you can get from any do-it-yourself shop. Again, he's in the loading pose, and he's got his like bandana on, the classic Spanish bandana on the top of his head. Guy with his classic top hat there, Edwardian style. What am I talking about? But you know what I mean. That time period. I did at one stage. I was wondering if I could have used these for anything up to the 1830s. You know, maybe you could use these in the war with the Spanish against, or the Mexicans against the Texans, things like that. I don't know, but you know, I wouldn't be surprised if you could use these for some filibusters and that. The only thing that might be a bit different is they've got these. Unfortunately, they've got these moccasins on. That might be an idea for somebody out there. Again, the firing pose before, probably with just with a, you know, they've just put a head swap on him. Again, what am I looking at? There's the odd bit of pitting, not a great deal. Again, rough cast underneath the cloak. You get that with them all. Mould lines are the usual, but you get that on any figure. And to be honest with you, I use a round file rather than a flat one, because a flat one will give you obviously a flat surface to it. So if you use a round one like this cocktail stick and just keep beveling your filing, you'll at least have a round rather than a flat surface. The only thing I'd say as well is try and go with the if you see like the curves on the material there where you've got the creases, maybe try and go that way with it rather than straight across, so you're actually following the contours. And then I've got two officers, so I think the third one would be, when I said I was missing a soldier, which was my own fault when ordering, I'd probably get obviously an officer. He's fairly simple. He's got a short jacket on, reinforced trousers, and the usual haughty shouting type pose. He's got a skull and crossbones on the top there, as you can see. And the other officer, again, classic like haughty type manner that they often pose them in. Lots of plaited hair again. Right guys, that's my my look at front rank. I don't think that went too bad, as in camera angles. As I say, it's literally on a light box pole, but because it can extend in and out, because it's designed for a camera and it's got the camera attachment at the end, obviously to put your camera on, it's quite you know, hopefully it remains stable. So maybe I might try doing a painting session like that. So maybe look forward, or not look forward, to some painting tutorials coming up in the future. I've actually got 4 more Nassaus to do, of the Grenadier Company, so maybe, I don't know, because I'm trying to get that out quite quick, but oh, you never know, I might just pick one item of clothing, as they're all green, maybe show painting that green again, or maybe the face. But I was actually going to leave a face tutorial to one of these, where I've got more to work on. So guys, thanks again for stopping by and taking a look. I hope you're all well and your projects are going at a rapid pace, and I will catch you again on another video. See you soon.